Well, it's comedy now on 2, with the therapy taking the form of a kick up the 80s.
Timothy, what makes you think you'd like to work for Smith & Jones Company Limited, eh?
Well, sir, I've always been very interested in,
crude ore smelting?
Yes. It was my favourite subject at school.
Fine. Well, let me tell you something about the work. Now, it's filthy, uncomfortable, hideously boring, and downright dangerous.
Sounds just the thing, sir.
Fine. In good health, are you?
Well, I do have a weak chest.
Excellent. We'll remember that when you try and sue us for silicosis. And bear in mind, any back chat, slacking or bleating over safety equipment will be met with instant redundancy come the annual shakedown. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Good. Well, what else can I tell you? Oh, yes, the wages are pitiful because we can get away with it. Executives have a nicer toilet. We sack apprentices at 20, and we don't like nigs. So keep that under your hat, okay? Now, is there anything you'd like to ask me?
No, sir. I would just like to thank you for giving me the opportunity.
If you weren't marrying my daughter, Timothy, you wouldn't get the opportunity.
Tonight, in line with BBC Two's continuing commitment to minority pursuits, we look at work. Or the lack of it. Though, of course, unemployment is simply nature's way of reminding you voted Tory. We need to work, if only so that we can enjoy it when we stop. You know, it's the old banging your head against a brick wall principle. Unless you work in the special patrol group, in which case it's the old banging somebody else's head against a brick wall principle. Everybody needs to work. Even some of the Queen's relatives now hold down a regular 9 to 9:30 job. For most of us, work is what we complain about, skive at, take holidays from. And when we down tools at the weekend, what happens? We work. Some people relax by doing an Open University course. The Open University's main contribution to British society, as you probably know, has been to give us more unemployed people with degrees than ever before.
Made of quantifiers over propositional variables. Thus, we could have not P, P, hook, L, P. Late again, Mrs. Smith. You've expressed the fact on everything.
Trying to find a job in 1981 is likely to prove frustrating, exhausting, and in most cases disappointing. A bit like trying to find a news item in the Daily Star. So, where does the school leaver go for advice in these recessionary times? When I was at school, you went to see the careers master. The choice of jobs he used to suggest was mind-boggling. In fact, always left you wondering why, with all that available, he had chosen to be something as boring as a careers master. Nowadays, giving careers advice is even easier. You just advise somebody to take the first job they're offered. Getting that offer is not always easy. You could always try the job centre, though it can't be long before these are closed down under the Trades Descriptions Act. You could even try working in a job centre. especially if you like meeting lots of new people every week. Really is an expanding business. Last week, the Dole office in Sunderland became the first ever to win the Queen's Award for Industry.
Hello, Mum.
Hello, Sharon, love. You're back early. Yeah, you've been to the job centre, haven't you? Yeah, I thought you were going.
Got nothing.
No. What they say?
They want people with skill, with training, you know.
Yeah, well, you've got a bit of training. What about Pam?
She's got a job.
Yeah, what's she doing?
British Home Stores.
Oh, go on, love. You don't want that.
Well, at least she's got a job. She's
yeah, well,
working.
maybe, but you've got typing, haven't you?
I don't want to do that. It's boring.
Yeah, well, never mind. You'll get something. Anyway, what do you want, love?
A couple of cash in my doll gyro.
Got any means of identification?
Good evening, everybody. Kevin Turvey here. Kevin Turvey, the man who rarely investigates everything properly. Not like Keith Marshall. And anyway, Keith Marshall, if I don't investigate things properly, then how come I'm on the BBC and you're not? Think about that sometimes. And it wasn't me that nicked your bike anyway. Just a bloke asked me to move it, that's all, so I moved it round the corner. I didn't nick it. Anyway, good evening, everybody else. Before we start, I thought I'd better apologise for my sore throat. And yesterday I was investigating how many times you have to shout tumble dryer in the high street before somebody comes up and offers you a cigarette. It took ages and ages. In the end I lost count anyway. Anyway, this week I decided I'd investigate tarmac. You know, like why it's black and things like that. So I got up like really early on the first day of my investigation and thought I'd have a really good breakfast. You know, cereal. So I went into the kitchen, right, got out the cornflakes, put it on the table, went over to the fridge, like, because that's where I keep my milk, you know. Opened up the door, and guess what? There was no milk. I thought, that's all right, I'll go to Tesco's and get some milk, like, because they got loads down there, you know. No, they have, I've been there, I've seen it. Racks and racks of it. Anyway, I went down there. Went in, like, through the door, you know, because, like, they got two doors there, you know. There's one that says in, and there's one that says out. And I went in the one that says in. Went in there, and that's when this really strange thing happened. Because I saw this woman in there. Well, it's not odd in Tesco, is it? But this one was. I thought, crikey, that's Noel Gordon. I thought, can't be Noel Gordon, not in Tesco's, right? So I crept up behind her and tapped her on the shoulder, and she turned round. Do you know what? I was right. It wasn't. So I got the milk, like, you know, took it home and poured it on my cornflakes, like, well, not all of it. Just a bit, like, you know. Put the top back on and put it back in the fridge, like, on its own. Well, not absolutely on its own. There's a bit of cheese in there, I think. Some ice, you know. But that's not important, anyway. Sat down to start my cornflakes, and I didn't know whether I wanted to listen to the radio or not. So I put on Radio 1, you know. And I started eating my cornflakes, and I just had a few cornflakes, about 15 or 16 cornflakes. I wasn't counting, you know. Well, you don't, do you? Oh, don't anyway. I'd be stupid if I did. Well, I just had a few cornflakes, and there was this knock at the door. I thought, that's someone at the door, right? So I got up, I went round the table and down to the end of the hall, where I keep my front door. And you know them little holes, like, that you can look through and see everybody all big outside, you know. Well, I haven't got one of them. So I opened the door, like, and it was the postman with a telegram. He says, Kevin Turvey, I've got a telegram for you. I said, oh, great. He says, I hope all your family's died in a really painful car accident. I said, why? What have I ever done to you? And he smashed me in the face. So I got up, like, really quickly, grabbed the telegram and slammed the door on. Opened it up, not the door, like, you know, the telegram. Stupid if I opened up the door again. And I read it, and it said, Kevin Tuvey, do not investigate tarmac. Investigate work. Love the BBC. So that was a lucky break, wasn't it? Could have spent the whole week investigating the wrong thing. Till next week, Armchair Britain, don't forget, if there's anything you want investigating, Kevin's here.
Please.
Yes, certainly, sir. Right. Rinsing out teapots, replacing old and worn-out tea bags, checking cup was full, installing 2 sugar cubes, and topping up with milk. That's parts 22p, labour £7.50.
Your job security depends a great deal on being in the right industry. If you work in something that's on the decline, the motor industry or the little and large show, then get out of it and into one of the 1980s growth industries. Microelectronics, riot control equipment, Tony Benn dartboards. Oh, and a warning to any of you who may be thinking that a life of crime might be preferable to all this. The government has decided to make sure crime doesn't pay. They're going to nationalise it.
Kevin, where have you been? Do you realise it's after 10 o'clock and I've been worried sick about you? I don't know. We've done our best to bring you up right in this place. We've given you a good education. We sent you to woodwork classes. Your sewing's coming along nicely. Now you're going to do something like this. Fancy running away from prison.
I don't like you looking after me all the time, Mr. Gregson. Always telling me what to do. I need a chance to express myself.
What do you mean a chance to express yourself? We let you go up on the roof, throwing slates for television cameras?
That's not the same, Mr. Gregson. I want a place of my own.
Oh, solitary confinement. That's what you all want. So you can sit and brood, wallow in your own self-pity.
But Mr.
No, I'm sorry, Kevin. We can't ignore this. We can't have you wandering about all over the place and coming in at all hours. After all, this is a prison. Now, we've told you before and you've had your last warning. We'll just have to take back your key.
So, you saw 2 masked men come into the bank, hold it up with shotguns, and demand money.
I did, yes. They were wearing stockings over their heads.
Uh-huh. And can you give me any kind of description?
Oh, yes, I can. I saw them quite clearly.
Good. On you go.
30 denier, brown name, one size. Well, a bit like the ones I'm wearing, actually.
No further questions, my lord. No further questions, my lord.
Oh, well, I think this is a good point to adjourn.
Court will rise.
Let's do our first line, right?
Yes,
and
right.
Listening?
Yes.
It's a mystery. Oh, it's a mystery. Now you.
It's a mystery. Oh, it's a mystery.
That's super, but don't spit.
Sorry.
Right? Don't spit. Throw that spit over the heads of the audience.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do your second line, which is
Okay.
a shot in the dark. The big question mark.
Okay.
Now you.
A shot in the dark, the big question mark.
That's super, Miriam. Now let's sing it and move it as well, okay? Now, me first.
Okay.
It's a mystery. Oh, it's a mystery. Next line. A shot in the dark, the big question mark. Now you.
It's a mystery. Oh, it's a mystery. A shot in the dark, the big question mark. Oh, it's no good. I'll never be as bad as you.
I'm angry. You'd better run and hide because you're phony and you're plastic. And when something makes me angry, I can really get sarcastic. I'll blow my nose in public if you say I'm cute and cuddly. Cause I wanna be rude, I'm gonna bath in the nude. Cause I'm angry. I am angry. Really angry. Angry. Really, really angry. Really angry. Nostradamus. I sing very badly like a Siamese cat on heat. Then I'll eat a lot of garlic and do press-ups in the street. I'll turn society on its head when I crimp my hair and dye red. Gonna change the whole cosmos cause I'm really cross. Nostradamus. My mystic room and secret signs. Boring tunes. I'll destroy your mind. Gonna change humanity. Make you all wake up. Change the world with my unusual makeup. I'll crawl around the floor and stick my tongue out at the cat. And if I see a wedding cake, I'll have a go at that. What's it got to do with you if I never wear pajamas? At least I've got a brain that knows a bit about Nostradamus. Gonna make you cringe when I shake my fringe. Sibilant S. Gonna dribble down my dress. Gonna be weird. Gonna act really mad. Things are worse, but they're gonna get bad. Cause I'm angry. I am angry. Really angry. Angry. Very, very angry indeed. Very, very indeed. Nostradamus. Car windows and smash in the bonnet. Throw out the telly unless I am on it. Vacuum the carpet, paper the walls. Visit your uncle and savage his smalls.
I heard something today that gladdened my heart.
Aye, what was that?
Well, you know I had a clothing firm, went bankrupt last year, totally ruined me.
Aye.
Well, the workers pulled all the redundancy money and formed a workers' cooperative. They've been labouring day and night to make a success of it, and when I heard the news today, I were over the moon.
Oh, they make a go of it.
No, they've gone bankrupt too.
One of the best ways of getting a good job in the 1980s is to be self-employed. I am self-employed. Very soon I intend to dismiss myself unfairly and clean up on the compensation. But if you've got some savings, or more likely a nice fat redundancy check, it's worth thinking seriously about starting your own business. A small shop, for instance. Very honourable profession, this. After all, Britain used to be described as a nation of shopkeepers. Unfortunately, what's likely to put you out of business is that Britain has now become a nation of shoplifters. Whatever you do with your money, be careful. There will be no shortage of sharks trying to part you from your cash. Don't listen to that man who's trying to sell you a chain of off-licenses in Saudi Arabia. You could lose more than your money. If you're really enterprising, you could become enormously rich by inventing something that everybody needs. Like Herbert Hoover, inventor of the Hoover, Laszlo Biro, inventor of the Biro, and Augustus Video Recorder, inventor of the Venetian blind.
Thank you, Mr. Atkins. That really was a mouth-watering demonstration. We're all dying for a taste of your Spanish omelettes. Now, the viewers would love to know, why did you in fact become a chef?
Well, I could hardly do anything else.
Were you driven at an early age to explore the culinary arts?
No, there was nothing else I could do.
Was it the challenge of creating new dishes?
No, as I say, it was the only thing I could do.
I see. Well, thank you very much anyway, Mr. Atkins.
Bloody stupid questions.
the desperate hunt for euphemisms for painful words like unemployed and redundant and school leaver, somebody has come up with the unwaged. The main purpose of this word is that if you are it, you get into rock concerts at half price. It refers to people who don't earn anything, the unemployed, students, pensioners, estate agents. If it appeals to you, you can arrange to be unwaged all your life. You stay on at school till you're 18, then college till you're 23, or 33 if you can wangle a research project called Further Education the next 10 years. Then when you finally leave college, you can get an Arts Council grant by arranging all your old essays in neat piles outside the Tate Gallery. Then forget to pay any tax and go bankrupt, which will put you in prison for a bit, if you can get past the waiting list. Have your life story written for you by a football journalist and retire at 65 with your pension. It's a full and interesting life. A severely disadvantaged section of the unwaged are women. Women who don't go out to work. Housewives. Being a housewife in the 1980s is worse than it used to be. Because instead of just being looked down on by your husband, you now get looked down on by feminists as well. The best way for housewives to improve their lot would be to turn it into a job by doing each other's housework. I mean, every morning you would leave your house at 7:30 and swap places with the woman next door. You then do each other's housework, take the kids to school, watch Pebble Mill at 1, you know, the sort of thing. Then at 5:30, you go back home, put your feet up. End of day's work, wages paid by the man next door. Any complaints from your husband about dinner not being ready, you tell him that the man next door has asked you to work nights.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Are you, a prostitute?
Aye.
I might be. Why? What do you want?
Well, we want some advice.
Yes, advice.
Advice? What about?
Well, it's about doing it.
Sex?
Oh, yes.
What
Aye.
sort forgot now?
Well, no, we know how to do it, don't we?
Yes, yes. You see, we've been married for 35 years.
Aye,
It's about
aye.
that, isn't it,
Oh,
Terry?
yes,
Yes,
it's about
that's
35,
right.
yes.
And something's not quite, you know, like it needs livening up a bit or something.
It's not quite right, is
No,
it?
we're agreed on that,
Aye,
aren't we?
we are,
Yes.
yes.
I see,
So,
yeah.
do you mind me asking, when you're, excuse me, but working, like,
Aye, when you're at it.
yes. How do you get started?
How do I start?
Yes.
Oh, I take my clothes off, and the fella takes his clothes off.
Well, I'll risk it if you will.
Do you mind?
Girls, don't suffer from sexual harassment at work. Get a helping hand.
Within my lifetime, or in the next 6 weeks, whichever is the shorter, we expect to see 98% unemployment in Britain. The whole of British industry will be run by one microchip, and each morning a man will drive to Birmingham in a South Korean car to switch it on. He will be the staff of British industry. The rest of us will be sitting at home suffering from Rubik's Cube finger. The job creation scheme will still be around, but hopefully not creating the kind of jobs it is at the moment. You know, the sort of thing. Building underground solar heating panels to keep cellars cool. No, they should create real new jobs, the kind we actually need. You know, making supermarket trolleys that actually go in the direction you push them. Supplying loose change to taxi drivers, or running charm schools for Trotskyist councillors. Another way of creating full employment would, of course, be to put everyone in the army. It works for the Russians. The post office, in an unusual show of forward thinking, has already made its arrangements for dealing with total unemployment and the extra work that'll mean for them. They're going to introduce the second-class post office. You go in, and they don't serve you till 2 days later.
It was amazing.
Absolutely, yes,
Oh,
absolutely. It's wonderful.
You know what I remember?
Yeah.
I think it was it 67 or 68?
67, yeah.
I was carrying this hash
Oh,
through
yes.
customs.
I
you
know. You
And I just floated.
I know.
And I had this sort of smile on my face.
I
and
know.
I just...
You were so brave, you know, to do that.
Yeah,
I couldn't have done that.
I'll tell you what I remember about you.
What was that?
You remember that demo?
I know.
Grosvenor Square?
Oh, yes.
And somewhere or other you had these marbles.
I know, I picked them up in the toy shop.
And you just went...
I just flicked them under the horse's hooves, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that horse really fell heavily, didn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Remember Hyde Park? Oh, wow. I was so stoned that day, you know.
You were?
I know, I was
mean, you
out
really
of it. You know, it was
were.
like having a kaleidoscope over each eye, you know. It's great.
What is it today about?
You know, I don't think kids today know what it's all about.
No,
you know.
they don't.
You know. Yeah,
They
have
really
you seen
don't.
this one? Look, I
What's
mean,
that?
you know, 15-year-old glue sniffer wandering around smashing shop windows. You know, 10 previous convictions. You know.
Well, I know what I call that.
What?
Vandalism.
Oh yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I hope they throw the book at him.
Oh, don't worry, they will. I mean, I'm prosecuting. See you.
Well, next week, a Kick Up the 80s aims at television and the media.
There's a new season of drama coming to BBC Two in World's End. When Angela leaves her suburban home after quarrelling with her father, she comes to the pub at the centre of the Chelsea community, the Mulberry, where her plight meets with the regular sympathy.
Poor girl. You know what our father threw around?
You're going to tell us?
Religion. Religious differences.
Well, people do die for their religious beliefs, you know.
Not in this day and age.
Could you help this young lady?
Well, I'm certain I could, yeah.
Could she stay at Jonathan's for tonight?
Jonathan's?
Yes. You're doing a job there, aren't you?
Well, I'm supervising Festus.
You'll be all right there, for dear, for the night.
So Andy installed you here?
Yes.
Very thoughtful of it.
I am sorry. It was a mistake.
Oh, not at all.
You didn't think you'd be coming back.
Change of plan.
Jonathan, you had a narrow escape there.
I'm surprised he let you go.
I just said I was tired and went to bed.
How's the sex life?
My sex life is magic. My love life is misery.
The Mulberry in World's End opens its doors on Thursday at 10:20, part of the new season on BBC Two.